everyone. This is the Jazz Connection. We have a special show for you today. Give us a few minutes. We'll be right back.
Hey, everybody. We'd like to welcome our special host today, Dr. James Jazzy Jordan. And he is a noted entertainment businessman, entrepreneur, and philanthropist. He has collaborated with many of America's top music recording artists and groups, including Will Smith, R. Kelly, Marvin Sapp, Will Downing, one of my favorites, Kirk Franklin, Yolanda Adams, Fred Hammonds. I can go on and on. And Jazzy has collected multiple gold platinum records. He has worked and consulted in a variety of capacities within the music and entertainment industry for over 25 years. And we are just so excited to have him here with us. He's running the ship tonight.
Well, welcome. I'm glad you guys are here. And you know what? We're going to have a great time because, I believe in you have to have a good time in life. Life is really, only worth living when you're having a good time. You have to celebrate yourself. That's what life is about, celebrating you. I talk about it like this. I love superheroes. And you know how you become a superhero? You become a superhero by doing what? Taking care of yourself first. It's like when you get on an airplane, right? And they say if the oxygen mask drops down, the first thing you do is put your mask on before you help anyone else. I don't care if you have an infant or older person, you put your mask on first. So today we're going to take a deep dive and we're going to look at no matter what career path it might be, whether you're an actress, whether you're a business consultant, whether you're an artist, what does success look like and how do you get there? So ladies, talk to me. What do you think success looks like? And before we do that, I just want to remind everyone, right now we're listening to Gary Sims. This brother, oh my gosh, if you don't know his music, you need to know it because I have given this my personal endorsement. So after 25 years, I think I know some music when I hear it. So why don't you kick us off, Linda?
Okay, you know what? We agree with you. That sound is so soothing. Okay, shout out to Gary. How do you become successful, or how do you develop success? I think one of the first things we have to decide is what success means to us.
Right.
Because I think that a lot of people gauge success by the monetary success, a lot of times though, but you're going to be out there a lot longer doing what it is you do most of the times before the money comes.
Right.
So I think you have to kind of look at what your talents are, what you're good at. You have to be really good at being you, about loving you and understanding who you are and what it is that you want out of life, and not comparing yourself to other people. And
so hold on. If you don't compare yourself to someone else, how do you measure success?
Well, I don't measure my success by other people's success. I measure my success by myself, and based on what I know that I need to do to be successful in my field. Because look at you're in the music industry, or look at the athletes who are making millions of dollars. That mean because I'm not making millions of dollars, I'm not successful? I had the opportunity to work in the White House with President Barack Obama. To me, that's success.
Right,
to someone else, that may be nothing. But before I got there, I managed an office over here on 54th and Crenshaw.
Okay.
I was successful. I was spent a year in Ohio. To me, that I was successful. To someone else, they may have said, she's doing flunky's work, So I think you look around and see what's going on. But to compare, sometimes it dampens the person's spirit, because if you're at a certain place and you're not where someone else is, sometimes it dampens your spirit and you start to believe that you're not as good as they are. You may not ever get it. And I also know that if God opens a door, no man can close it.
Well,
and so it's not always about me. So I just think that if you find out what it is you want to do, if you really do the best you can, if you get help when you need it, I'm not suggesting you don't get help, but don't give up because someone else may be doing it better.
But you're exactly right. But for this show, I want to focus on the individual. I want you to focus on yourself. Because again, and you're absolutely right, what you said is correct. You can't necessarily measure yourself by someone else, but you do need a standard, something to measure from. In other words, we have a lovely actress in the room, right? Mm-hmm. So how can she measure herself or what success looks like?
Jazzy, how about that? That is one of my many talents. And I say many because God has given us all talents, plural.
Okay.
And one of the things that I really like what Linda said was you got to count the small victories.
Yes.
Because those are successes. Each time you grow and you do something else. She said she had an office that she successfully managed before she went to Barack Obama's office to manage some things there at the White House. What's important and what she said in that is that I celebrate who I am in those small victories. And I think that essentially is what makes you become greater and do more because you develop a sense of excellence that no matter how small the task, I'm going to continue to do this way so that I'm proficient and I get better and better. It's in those small victories.
You know, it's interesting you say that because, see, for me in my career, I never look at what I'm doing. In other words, I don't, maybe at the end of the year I'll take stock and say, well, where am I? Mm-hmm. As opposed to trying to measure my steps as I'm taking those steps. Because I honestly feel that in a way gets in the way.
Mm-hmm. Slows you down.
Exactly, because you're looking at, what did I do last week? No. Yeah. It's like last week's over. What am I doing next week?
Right.
So you can keep pushing ahead. I love this quote by Martin Luther King. He says, if you can't run, then you walk. If you can't walk, then you crawl.
That's right.
But no matter what, you never stop moving forward.
That's right.
You have to keep moving forward. No matter what your situation is, where you are in life, what your station is. And another thing I love is another quote I love, and that is, it really doesn't matter what anyone else thinks about you. It only matters what you think about yourself. Because if we wait for other people to pat us on the back, we wait for other people to give us our glory, we may never get it.
It's true.
So I interrupted you. Please continue.
No, and I love your quotes. I was thinking about the late, great Dr. Maya Angelou, and she says success is liking who you are and liking what you do. And so essentially, if you don't like who you are, you're not going to be successful. So that's the key thing that I would like to share with anyone that's listening right now is that you first have to like who you are because that's where the root of all of your
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that for a second. How difficult is it to like yourself?
It's not difficult at all.
You don't think so?
No, it starts in those little victories.
Do you think?
That's the key. You got to praise yourself. Right. And you cannot be afraid to, like, before we went on air, I talked to you about you were talking about how your basically portfolio is so expansive. And that's great. I celebrate you in that. And I was telling you.
Well, I wasn't. I don't want to put it out there like I was talking about it now.
No. I mean, and then I reference a singer, a girl, she is really doing well, Corin Hathorn.
Yes.
And she has a song out right now with Lecrae, and it's called Unstoppable.
Right.
And one of the lyrics in that song says, I walk right up to the front where I belong and brag on it.
Right.
And that's powerful. You should. That is such a powerful message to put out there. And I think in those small victories is where you start to develop that confidence. And if you don't have confidence, you're not going to be successful in the business world because you're not going to be able to tackle the things that come at you.
Hold on. How many people do you really know that really love themselves? Really, honestly.
It's your circle.
Can I?
It's your circle. My people, my circle. We love ourselves. Like, girl.
Well, there's a difference between loving yourself and really loving yourself. Some of us fool ourselves like we love ourselves, but when we go home at night, we're like,
She wrote a book on it. Loving yourself first.
I wrote the book, Loving Yourself First, A Woman's Guide to Personal Power, How to Take Charge of
Why
Your
is it
Life.
just a woman's guide?
Okay, well, the reason it was a woman's guide is that's a marketing tool. Because men was not going to go, even though lots of men ended up buying it when they would hear me on the radio or something.
Sure.
But they don't go to the store looking for a book like that. So I want to, what I see, a lot of people don't love themselves or even like themselves because we live in a world that tells us what we should look like, how we should act, what we should do. And if we're not conforming to that a lot of times, then we start getting down on ourselves.
That's correct.
So for me, loving yourself and liking yourself is an inside job. It has nothing to do with out here. It has to start in here. And it's a spiritual growth and a spiritual process. And as a coach, when you talk about looking back, no, strategic planning moves you forward. But without a plan, without having any idea of what you want to do or who you are, a lot of people stagnate. And the thing they tend to believe, and whose you are, thank you, and they tend to believe that standing still is okay. Standing still is going backwards anyway, even if you're not looking backwards.
That's true.
Because everything is passing you by. So we have to really. I've been doing personal growth and development for a long time, but you know where it started?
Where?
On me.
Really?
I had to do it for me first.
Yes.
It was a work on me.
I
and
agree.
so as I worked on me, and I can see the growth and started to look around and see other people like Les Brown, like I talk about, then I wanted to do that for other people, and that's why I wrote the book. And I'm telling you that we live in a world that wants to keep us at a certain level. So it's hard work for us to...
We're going to talk more about that. I like that. We're living in a world that wants to keep us at a certain level because I don't necessarily believe that. But first I want to hear from Monica. Come on, Monica. Talk to us.
You have to get out of yourself and you have to progress forward. Now, I'm working in corporate America, and I decided 30 years ago when I was as secretary/admin that I didn't want to do that anymore. I wanted to be a buyer for the government. So what I did was I took all the things that were in my resume, my job skill that I was doing as buying, and I made that my entire resume, and I got into the procurement world. Now, if I hadn't have done that, I'd still be a secretary today. But see, you set a goal for yourself and you want to make progress. Make a list, like I've done recently. I put down all the skills that I have, all the skills that are needed for the new job, and another column shows what I'm lacking in. I go back and complete what I'm lacking in, then I'm ready for the next level.
Wow.
I've got my ammunition now. I can move forward. I can go to somebody and say, okay, I want to go to the next level. That's progression. That's not holding yourself back. That's stopping yourself from being stagnant where you are and moving backwards, like Linda was saying. You keep moving forward. You set a goal for yourself. You put it on a board, put it somewhere where you can see it visually.
Right.
Then other people can see it visually. Then you stop being shy about it.
So how important is practice?
Practice is good. You need to do practice all the time, because if you don't practice your skills, you don't practice things, you'll lose it. Like even for me now, I'll go on job interviews now knowing that I may not even want the job that I'm going for, but it gives me the practice of being able to interact with people. So you're not shy, because sometimes when you have to go like on a job interview for something that you're not sure if you can do, you kind of hesitate. The person that you're talking to, they can tell. They can sense that.
Absolutely.
They say, well, now she probably don't know what she's doing.
Absolutely.
But if you keep going on these job interviews, you get better and better and better at it.
Right.
And now you sound like you know exactly what you're doing.
Good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is better and your better is your best.
That's right.
Practice.
Practice. You know, the first thing I think about, because I can't get this song out of my head, and I you would appreciate this as a music fellow. New song by Offset. We're going to do the best of both worlds here now. Offset and his wife, his lovely wife, Cardi, and they have a song together where they've collaborated. It's called Clout. And in that song, one of the verses says, practice, practice, practice makes perfect. It's never too late. And so in any song, and I always try to find like the nuggets.
Yes.
no matter what song I'm listening to, because my kids like songs that are different from the songs that I like.
Right.
If it was left up to me, I would have it on NPR all day because I'm a news junkie. I love the news.
Sure.
But you have to be tolerant of other people and what they like. And as long as it's not something that's just too far out from what you can tolerate, listen to it, because there may be a message there. And then there's growth in being able to go and meet people where they are. And,
Sure.
I'm saying that because a lot of times, especially in career counseling, and I know this because I've been on that side where I've been help kids get their resumes together and the cover letters and mock interviews and trying to establish what skills they have to offer the world, and then helping adults who are trying to change careers. Each person has what we call transferable skills. What Monica was talking about, how she got from one place to the next. She basically took a risk and said, you know what? I know that I'm good in these areas, and so that's what makes me who I am. And I think with every person, you have to really do some deep soul searching
Right.
to figure out what your transferable skills are. If you like to cook, good, that might be your gift. If you like to wash cars, I'd like to listen to Stevie Harvey's motivation, and he says he's got a friend that has a detail shop that makes over $200 million a year detailing cars. So my thing is, and this is coming from the spiritual realm, find out what your gifts are, because your gift will make room for you.
Right, absolutely. You want to take the same question, Linda?
Practice. I am a believer that it's not necessary to be perfect to be at the top of your game. Practice makes better, and keep practicing and keep getting better. But don't just practice. You have to do it. You have to take action.
Yes.
You
Right.
have to move. You have to do something.
Sure.
And so I think perfect is a word that stops people sometimes, because they don't think they should start sometimes until they are perfect at it. No, just keep practicing and getting better and getting better and getting better, and don't let perfection. I don't let perfection enter into it. I want to be good. I want to be great, and that's just a personal thing with me when I hear perfect, because again, I think it limits people when they think they have to be perfect. No, you don't have to be perfect to audition for a part. You don't have to be perfect to write a song. You don't have to be perfect. Now, you may learn something in the process, as she said.
Right.
But if you sit back and practice to be perfect, I think you're setting yourself up for failure. I just really believe that you have
Well,
to.
I have to question that, because when you look at the great athletes of the world, like a Kobe Bryant, let me tell you what LeBron James learned from Kobe Bryant. He learned how to practice, and he learned how important it was to practice. And you look at a Tiger Woods started.
I didn't say don't practice.
No, but again, they practiced to be the best.
Yeah, perfection.
The best,
gotta perfect your craft.
for me, the best is not necessarily the person who's practicing to be perfect, because a lot of times perfect limits people. How many people will see a Kobe Bryant and say to themselves, I can never do that, because they think he's perfect. Kobe Bryant was far from perfect. We saw him mess up some nights. We see LeBron James mess up some nights. How many of them have played a perfect? How many have played a perfect game? So for me, that word perfect or perfection, it works in the
I agree
negative
with you.
form.
But okay, here's the next question. How do you know when you're practicing the right thing? And I'll give you an example. Like, I played a lot of golf, right? And so I know that in playing golf, you have to practice. But if you're practicing the wrong thing and you're swinging the wrong way, you'll never really get better. You might end up being able to strike the ball a little better, but it's still offline because you're not practicing properly.
I got a great answer to that one.
Come on, let's hear it.
You hire a coach.
Absolutely.
The best coach
Yes.
for golfing. I'm the best one for business and personal growth. Here's a coach that can teach you something. There's a coach. You get you a coach.
That's right.
And that's the time that you reach out, because a lot of times when I see businesses in trouble, their number one statement to me, I've done everything I can.
Right.
and the business is still failing.
Sure.
Well, you need some help. If you've done everything you can, you actually need help before you get to that point. But if you're at that point, you definitely need some help.
Well, that's very true.
And remember, Kobe had a coach all his career, and so does LeBron James.
And so did Tiger Woods.
And everybody else.
Absolutely.
Right.
No, successful people have coaches.
Right.
Without a doubt.
Right.
And, you know, and that's...
I had to have that one. Just had to have that one.
Yeah.
Don't do that
And in business, it would be marketing.
Promotion girl.
Sure,
You
sure.
would have the right marketing person on your team.
Well, no, listen, even when you're a professional actress, whether you're a professional singer, you still need to have that coach.
That's right.
Because there are people that know more than you. So why should I bump my head when you've already bumped yours?
Yes.
Right.
And you can tell me, you need to duck.
Yes.
And it makes
Yeah.
a difference. So coaching is extremely important, but finding the right coach is really the key.
That's right.
Finding someone that connects with you, maybe it's spiritually, maybe it's just in knowledge and just being able to bring you to that next level. And again, we have to, again, you mentioned earlier, you said the world want to hold you back. I wanted to come back to that statement because I don't necessarily agree with that.
Okay. When I say the world want to hold you back, what I mean is there are so many people out there that set standards that a lot of us think we should try to follow. I'll give you an example.
Okay.
I should be thin. I should be, if I'm going to model, I should be, and it's getting better in that arena, modeling.
Not necessarily, but okay.
But
I mean, my own person.
But what I'm saying is that when we let the world out there set the standards that we live our whole life by, you see people
Sure.
spend every dime they have because they think they're supposed to have the latest car or wear the latest clothes or
That's correct.
live in the biggest house or they're not successful. And so when I say that, we need standards. That doesn't have anything to do, well, a little bit with standards.
But is that the world holding you back, or is that yourself holding you back?
That's
Because
yourself.
That's what I'm saying. That
Right.
don't buy into it. But
Right.
it's out there, and a lot of people are. Of
Right.
course, it's yourself.
Sure.
But a lot of people said their whole life is geared around. I'm going to go buy what I see, whatever the fashion designers say is the style this year, or whatever it is. No, it's ourselves. Remember that conversation we had on the Millennial Journal talking about kids without home training,
Right.
and now they're out in the world and they're showing up at corporations where they don't know how to be there.
Sure, of course.
So no, it is our response. Look, this is what I tell people: you didn't break it, but you're responsible for fixing it. It's your responsibility to fix it. No, you didn't break it. We didn't break a lot of things. As African Americans, and we were in slavery, we didn't break it. But we can't sit back and moan and groan. We have to fix it.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Find a solution.
Either one of you ladies want to jump in?
Just in terms of the whole scenario of the way that life works and the flow and the vibes and everything that keeps you prosperous and keeps you moving forward, I would have to throw in a quote that my grandmother taught me, and she said, and this has stuck with me my entire life: hold on to anything you find that's good and workable for you. Drop anything negative where you find it. And she would always say that. She would say, baby, hold on to anything you find that's good and workable for
Well,
you.
hold on. We got to challenge. We got to
and
challenge.
drop anything negative.
We're going to challenge that. We're not going to challenge your grandmother. I'm going to challenge you. Okay. I don't want to go there. But sometimes a woman can think that she found a good man, right? But this man may not be good for her. But she thinks, I found a good
Grandma
man.
said, "Drop it if it ain't good for you."
That's
Did you
right,
hear that part? Did you hear that part?
I did. I did. But the question is, do you know whether it's good for you or not?
It shouldn't take long, huh?
If you're connected to the source, and for me the source is God.
Okay.
And for each person the source is different.
Sure.
But if you have a higher source that you're connected with through, that works in you, around you, and through you,
Right.
the source will let you know when something is right and when it's not.
Right.
It's so clear. It's vividly clear.
Okay.
Yeah, let him guide you in that instead of you trying to guide yourself. And
Yeah.
a lot of days, I'll admit it, Jazzy, a lot of women today, they're guiding themselves. They're telling themselves, that's the man for me.
And if,
Right.
and
It's not.
if you're not spiritual by any means, and you still want to know that you're in a bad relationship, look at what's happening in that relationship and look at your life. Look at your life. It plays itself out over and over again. Now we can go through life fooling ourselves, but most women know after a certain period of time whether it's good for them or not. Now they don't always do anything about it. But
Because
they know.
I'm gonna say there's a lot of people that stay in a lot of bad relationships for a really, really long time.
They do.
And they don't want to change because I think they're afraid of, I shouldn't say they're afraid of change, but when you start making a change in your life, that means you have to throw out a lot of things. You had a reply?
Yeah, I was just thinking in terms of when you are caught in a negative relationship, you should know that there's a yoke. And the scripture talks about it, that you should not be unequally yoked.
Oh
And
my
so-
gosh, we're going to go there now.
No. Here's the thing. Your spirit weighs on you. It's a heavy spirit when you're with the wrong person. And trust me, I had some frogs before I got to my prince. So I know what I'm talking about. You know it in your spirit that this is not right. This person doesn't value me. This person doesn't love me. This person doesn't accept me for who I am. This person adds no value to my life. So essentially, you want to make sure that whoever you have in your circle adds value. Would you say that?
I would definitely say everybody don't belong in the front row.
Yeah, but
keep them out there in the, but if they put the front row people, make sure those people are. But I'm going to make a gift of all of you loving yourself first. A Woman's Guide to Personal Power. Not only is it a great book, but there's some stories
Okay.
in that book that are real, and it's exactly what we're talking about now, and one of the reasons I wrote the book. At the time, I was in finance, and I was trying to do financial independence seminars for women, and we'd get together in a room, and I'm at the front of the room trying to talk about how they can be financially independent, and they're talking about these relationships, because they were real.
Right.
They were real,
Absolutely.
and they didn't believe that they had answers.
Right.
And these weren't some
Or
of these women are
choices.
educated.
Right.
They're choices.
That's right.
And a
Oh,
lot
I
of them
love
were
that.
educated and beautiful and smart and all of that.
Right.
But the relationship thing was a problem, and that's where the book was born. That's exactly where it was born.
I think it's always difficult. It's a problem because sometimes we get caught up in what a person looks like as opposed to what they're really, really bringing to our lives. Because if you see someone that you're like, oh my gosh, I just have to have her in my life. I don't care if she's late for this date or not. I'm just going to wait here because, I may never meet anyone like this again. So I just think that so often we have a tendency to stay in situations that we should not be in. We have a situation we don't want to change because, again, it's like this person may not be perfect for me, but they love me for the way I am. So I don't have to be super thin for this person. I don't have to be this for that person because they love me. But I think it's very difficult to tell if that's the right person for you. And maybe you guys have a secret that I know, and I guess I need to read your book.
Read my book, and this is what I say. If you're loving yourself, if you go into a relationship and you truly love you, you're going to attract someone into your life that loves themselves, because if they don't, they can't come in. Now that's if you're truly loving yourself. But if you're just accepting whatever comes along and then you want to fix him, Lord have mercy.
Yeah, but
I'm going to fix him.
See-
we can, and we can't fix someone
See, but
else.
I think
so.
I think we spend so much time talking about loving ourselves, and we're back to that because we started out there. But I really believe that from the people I coach, people I talk to, I'm not really sure that people really truly love themselves, because in order to love yourself, it's something you said earlier. In order to love yourself, you have to go within and really understand and know who you are. And I don't know if most people do that.
I'm not sure if most people do that, but I tell you what, personal growth and development, and spiritual development, that's what that's about. They have to be taught. When you're in school, what are you taught? How to get along with everybody around you. Nobody teaches you how to get along with yourself.
Linda, you just keep sending me these places, because
you know how long I've been doing personal growth and development?
Well, that's fine. But I'm going to see if you can handle this.
Okay, throw it at me.
Okay. We all talk about being taught.
Mm-hmm.
From the moment we're born, we're being programmed. Mm-hmm. And I question quite a bit of that programming, because we don't even know why we do what we do. We don't even know why we eat what we eat. We eat what we eat mainly because it's tradition, it's habit. This is what my family ate. This is our era. If all of a sudden it's like, well, tonight what we're going to have is that we're not going to really have the soup. We're just going to drag something through the soup, because this is where my family did it. So I don't know if people invest enough time to really analyze what's inside their head, what they think is right. Because I have this belief that in life, most of the things you think are right may not be.
Vaughn, how do you measure success when it comes to the way you feel about yourself?
It's all mindset, really. You know, how you look at yourself and how you position yourself in the world, in the universe, really. Bringing it back to the point that you just said, like we are programmed from the beginning, and it's really hard for you to break down those barriers and those blockages and go beyond seeing what everyone else sees of you and says to you that they believe that you are, and just really truly being yourself. It's very difficult, but at the end of the day, it breaks down to your inner strength and coming inside yourself and breaking down to who am I, what am I here to do, and driving force with that mindset, and that's what makes you successful.
How do you know when you're not lying to yourself? I mean, again, because we always want to think that we have it right, but how do you know? How do you really, 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 really know?
It's many factors, really. In my mind, it's many factors. You do your research and you look in that mirror.
So what are you researching? Come on, give me.
Okay, so for example, like, I don't know, body image is a huge thing right now. So it's like...
Hey, body image has been a huge thing forever.
Yeah. It is. It always has been.
Yes.
Since women wore corsets and, the 1950s, okay? It's always has been. But when you really bring yourself to that mirror, I'm like, any day I could be like, okay, I'm slim, I look good, whatever. But when I come to the mirror, like, I'm going to have to realize, well, there are certain things that don't make me exactly slim. So I'm just going to have to, if I want to switch to what I really want to be, I'm going to have to do that.
Right.
I just have to say this,
Please.
just because social media has quadrupled the negative effects that women, some gentlemen, but especially for young girls, because there's an extensive amount of research on this, that it really, really hurts the way that they perceive themselves when they see that. And so I think the struggle from way back when, those ladies had just themselves and their mirror, and they could put on a girdle, or whatever, the corset or whatever they put on, and be fine when they go out. But now with social media, you can't hide whatever you your whatever. It's just out there, and I think it's difficult.
Here's the problem I have with your statement. And I don't really have a problem, but here's the deal. I think that women think that they're the only ones that's going through something. And let me tell you something. Men are taught from almost day one to be rejected. Okay? And we have to overcome rejection.
Yes.
All right? When we go to the neighborhood dance in high school, now, it's the guy that has to go ask the girl to dance.
Not these fast girls these days.
So
they don't stand on the wall and wait, huh?
So it's been a while since I've been through a high school. I will say that. But okay, let's say back in the day. Okay, so again, man is taught to approach the woman. Mm-hmm. So now you got a cluster of women. Let's say it's 5 women standing there, and hey, you're gonna go to one you think is the best looking woman, right? So she says no. Then all of her friends are gonna say no. So you're done. We are rejected so much And so often, and I don't know if you women really appreciate that.
Speaking
Wow.
in terms of gentlemen.
Don't go
Yes.
ahead.
You're speaking in terms of gentlemen that
Yeah.
we don't, as women, don't understand or
Appreciate how often we get rejected.
that you guys get rejected.
Yes.
We get rejected too.
How?
We get rejected just for being a woman.
What?
Yes, like
Yeah,
women,
I
women have,
you,
women have a less
you
of
may
an
not
advantage.
you may not call it rejection,
Yeah.
but we see it differently.
We see it different.
Yeah, we see it now. We are all standing over here on the wall. We don't see that we have the power. Men have always had the power in my lifetime for the most part. It's changing now some. So if you walk across the room and ask, you probably would get a yes. The problem is you won't walk over there and ask.
No. Trust me, I've walked across a lot of rooms. That's not true. But again,
We're hoping. We're hoping.
Approaching the wallflower. You were approaching the girls that were in a group with each other.
Yeah.
That were just conversating with each other, which are probably pretty and popular. You weren't reaching the right one. Probably that's probably.
well,
right.
because if you're standing there by yourself and you're a wallflower, you're telling me something about yourself. You're telling me that you don't love yourself enough.
See, that's
That doesn't
your
mean get up and down.
that's your opinion, right?
Exactly,
and your
absolutely.
assessment of what's going on.
Sure, absolutely.
I want to go back to something you said about how we learn.
Yeah.
When you said about loving yourself first
Sure. Mm-hmm.
or appreciating. Unfortunately, we learn the hard way most of the times. When people call me in business, it's not because their business is doing well.
Sure, of course not.
So when I was working with people in personal growth and development, or a psychologist or a psychiatrist get a call, it's not because they're feeling good,
Right.
but taking that step to get some help usually can turn their lives around, or falling down really hard and hitting their head really hard sometimes, which has to happen sometimes, unfortunately, will help people start at least seeking for something different, wanting something different. Maybe they've been abused, so now it's like, that's never going to happen to me again, but they went through that. So we do learn, and unfortunately, sometimes we have to learn the hard way.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we have a caller. We have a caller?
Hello, Makita, you there?
Makita, are you on with me? Please say yes.
You on?
Please say yes. Don't reject me. See,
Are you on?
here it is again, getting rejected. All over again.
Can you hear? Can you hear? Oh, wait a second. Can you hear us?
Anyway,
Oh.
so yeah. the bottom line. The bottom line is this. We all have situations we certainly have to deal with. That's for sure, whether it's man or woman. But I just think that we all need to be more understanding of one another. Because in the music industry, I would see all these women would get together and they're like,
Hello.
we're fighting against the man. And they were talking about men that were just in the music industry trying to make it happen for themselves, but not really meaning to shut them out. So I think, especially with people of color, I think we need to break down all the barriers, whether you're man or woman or whatever, and just learn to really work together and figure out how we can do it. And by the way, I want to invite everybody out tomorrow, because tomorrow we're having a special event. Dr. Maxey over on Prairie, 447 North Prairie, is having his grand opening. He's going to have the mayor there, ribbon cutting. We're going to have like a bank of doctors, a slew of doctors. It's going to be really great. It's going to be your opportunity to come out and talk to a doctor, get any questions you want asked, and they're going to be there for you. And Dr. Maxey, he's a friend of mine, and he's been in Inglewood for 40 years, and he's been serving this community for such a long time. So he just wants to make sure that people have an opportunity to not be afraid of the doctor, because there's a lot of times, you walk in, you see a doctor, and you're like, oh, intimidated, like I can't ask that question. And I think people of color, we really need to get out of that. So going there, how important, Makita?
Yes.
Oh my God! Thank you so much. You just made my day. I thought you were rejecting me for a second, but now
I could never, ever reject you. You know better.
I do, and I'm so thankful. Yes, I am. I'm thankful.
How is everybody doing today? Is my Von True there?
Yes, hello.
Hi, doll.
Hi.
Hi, doll. Is my D Nice in the building?
Yeah.
What's good, baby? And is there anybody else I'm missing? Because I'm not there. I'm sorry.
Hey, this is Linda.
Hi.
How are you?
Oh my God,
We be missing you.
listen, you so beautiful. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you.
Oh, it's so good to hear your voice.
Thank you.
So I have a question for you. So how's the new music project coming along?
Fire, fire, fire.
Fire. I love it. I love it. I love it when you talk to me like that.
Makita, this is Germany.
yes,
We haven't met yet, but I love your music. Be Nice has really been blessing us with all of your different songs, and we just want to get you back in the studio as soon as possible.
Oh, Queen, I can't wait to meet you. I'm sorry I didn't know you were there. Hi.
Hi.
I can't wait to embrace you, beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to coming back and spending time with you guys on Friday again. I miss you dearly.
Great.
So I plan to see you tomorrow. Is that correct?
I will be there with bells on, baby.
Oh,
good.
sucky. Yeah.
Good.
I like that. I like that. So today we're talking about success and what success really looks like, what it means, and how do you get success? And some of obviously we've targeted that you must have a coach. You need to have the right coach in your life. So
You do.
since you've traveled the world and you've sung with everyone, talk to us about that.
You know what? I think the greatest insight that was ever given to me was given to me by Tina Marie.
Uh-huh.
And she told me, she said, Makita, she said, you are so successful. I need you to understand how successful you are. And I was like, huh? And she said, baby, you know your purpose. You understand your purpose. When you know what you have been sent to this earth to do, and then you surround yourself with magnificent people that help nurture and cultivate that thing. It doesn't get no better than that. You
Right.
are so rich and you are so wealthy beyond words. There are so many people that go to jobs they hate every day. There's so many people that do things that they know they did it just because someone told them they had to, or
Right.
this is the family trait, and they're not actually fulfilling purpose.
Right. So
And for me, that was the greatest success story and line for me ever.
So here's a question for the panel. How do you
Okay.
know when you're walking in your purpose? Ladies?
It's not work. It's not work.
Okay. It's not, I got one, it's not work.
And for me, I would say it's not work, but it comes almost miraculously. It just seems almost, I won't say effortless, because you do have to work hard. You still have to work hard.
Right.
But it just seems that it happens for you, and it happens the way it should happen. It took me a while to walk in my purpose. I took some jobs like everybody else for the money, because I had to take care of my girls.
Sure.
Yeah. But when I started to do what I really love, or I hope you can tell that I'm doing what I love now, because I'm passionate about it.
Right.
It creates passion in you, and you want to do it. A lot of people say I do it for free. I may do it for free if I had enough money to do it for free.
But not today.
But not today.
Right.
But I think, and you're excited when you get up, and you're excited when you go to bed, and you're always looking for ways to improve it and to do more of it.
Right.
And I do give it away a lot. I'm that passionate about helping other people.
Okay.
So
Yeah, things naturally come in alignment for you, absolutely. And I think a big word for that is zeal. You feel zeal, you feel that power within yourself, and you just feel like it's just that on, and you just know what to do.
Wow. Please.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what you do with the least amount of effort. It's just something that you
So
come natural
what if
in
you
doing.
can't what if you can't get paid from what you do with the least amount of effort?
No, you still do it. Because God will bless you. Your gift, I'm telling you, that your gift will make room for you. I cannot say that enough. If you don't have money, which I equate that to tithe, you have talent. you have something else, time. So give your time and your talent, even if you don't have the money, because God will bless you. He will bless your efforts and what you're trying to do. He will bring the money to you. Don't go and seek the blessing. Seek God, and the blessing will seek you.
Yeah. And did you see the
Preach on, preacher.
did you see the Gabby Douglas story?
Yes, I did.
If you're doing what you do at a level that you should be doing it, the money and the success is going to come to you. It's going to find you. There is that little girl, that gymnast. She came from a poor family. I mean, just she had to go live with a white family in another state in order to just do her craft.
You're looking
Right.
at you're looking at a
mean,
poor girl that was raised in, well, I'm not poor now, but you're looking at a girl that was raised poor from another state, Mississippi. I mean,
Hey,
and
listen,
from
listen.
what God has brought me.
Don't talk
You
about
didn't.
being
You
poor.
you weren't poor. You
Listen.
didn't have any money.
No. We were when I first started out. Just when I came to know about just being poor, not having meat, and not even going on vacations. I didn't start going on vacations until I was like 24 years old. And I didn't even realize that was something that I was missing.
Well, you can't miss what
And
you
it's
can't measure.
That's right.
Do you know
don't
where?
what
Do you know
don't
where LeBron James came from?
So we
I spent 4 months in Akron, Ohio.
Right.
He
Everybody's got a story.
They tell you where he lived when he was at home,
Elvis,
and they
everybody.
showed you the biggest house there
Well,
now belongs
but
to LeBron
see
James.
what
I think
but
that's what makes
so
you
it's-
appreciate your success more. When you're talking about success and then just coming full circle, I have to say that because a lot of the people that I admire the most, like the Oprahs of the world,
Sure.
we're from the same place. She's from Kosciuszko, Mississippi. And so when you talk about what you had to overcome to
Right.
get to where you are, and then the people that you helped along the way that you didn't even realize you were helping,
Right.
that was your gift. You were walking in your purpose then, not even realizing. When she was an anchor back in Tennessee, she blessed a lot of people. They tuned in just to see her.
Right.
I mean, Quincy Jones or whoever it was that found her was one of the people that was visiting, and he said, "Hey, I found my Sophia." That's how she got on The Color Purple, because
Sure.
he was visiting,
Right.
and she was a news anchor. And that's a way of delivering a service to people. It's your talent, it's your time. That's what's going to make room for you.
Well, without a doubt, she's a great example of someone that put in the work.
Yeah.
Because that's what you have to do.
That's right,
And
Jazz.
you can't wait until the opportunity knocks to get ready.
That's right.
You have to be ready before opportunity knocks. So
Right.
when opportunity
I love
is
that.
knocking, you better be ready.
That's right.
You can't. It's just like going for a job interview, and you're going for a job interview and you don't know much about the company. Well, you've made your first mistake already, because you should prepare for that interview so you know as much as you can know about that company. You know as much as you can know about your profession.
Right.
So you can prepare yourself for success, because success is intentional. It's not by chance. All the people we were talking about that are successful, they're successful because they have intentional lives.
Right.
Okay? They look at look at a Michael Jackson. What's the difference between Michael and the rest of his brothers? I mean, yeah, he could sing better. True enough. Yeah, he could dance better. But he practiced more. He practiced and he perfected his gift.
He perfected that
He
moonwalk and could do it better than anybody else at that time.
Well, technically, he stole that from Jeffrey Daniels, but we won't go there.
But he made it what he made it.
No, he took it and made it his.
He made it his.
Nobody knew about Jeffrey Daniels but me.
Yeah.
Okay. I know you didn't make it. Everybody was like, "Oh my God!" I'll tell you a funny story. First time I saw Prince in concert, right? I was so upset. I was like, he just did James Brown, and now he's doing Jimi Hendrix, and now he's doing. I just saw all the people that he watched.
Had been influenced
Exactly.
by him. Yeah.
And he brought that all together to create Prince. But people that didn't know Prince, they were like, "Oh my God! Oh, so wonderful! Oh, so amazing!" And even Michael Jackson's dance with Billie Jean, right? There's a director. His name was Bob Fosse. And there was a movie, The Snake. He does that same dance in that movie. Same exact dance. He was dressed the same way that Michael came out dressing, with the high waters and the white socks and the loafers and all that, and the hat and flipping the hat, all that. So one thing we have to think about in life is that we do need to imitate those that came before us. And there's nothing wrong with that. Listen, in life, I've always taken mentors, and I didn't know these people. I didn't want to know my mentors. I wanted to learn from them. When I wanted to get in radio broadcasting, I studied this guy, Frankie Crocker. I was like, wow, what makes him so successful when he's the smoothest guy I ever heard? I mean, wow, I want to be like that. So I think it's important to pick your mentors and study them without even, you don't even need to know them. Because a lot of times I find too that, idols have feet of clay. So the closer you get to people, the more you find out, I really don't like that person. So it's not the personal person that I'm trying to get to know. It's what did you do to get to where you are. So do any of you ladies, do you have any mentors or anyone that you look upon?
I do. I have several in different industries.
You want to tell us?
Well, one has been very instrumental in my life. Her name's Reed Rich. You may know her.
Okay.
She is the spouse of Mad Rich, and she is a wonderful, very, very passionate woman of God who also has fared extremely well in the entertainment space as an artist herself, and then to go on to be a successful publicist and just being the spouse of someone who has been in the limelight. That's been instrumental in helping me in my walk in Hollywood, just having someone first that was deeply rooted in her faith, because that's not something that you really get with a lot of people in Hollywood. And I just have to say that, because they have some of the qualities, but they're missing the God factor.
Sure.
And for me, that's the most important. Let's start there. And then we can see what else we have in common. And so she is one. And I have to also speak on a lady named Lisa Tenner, who actually was my mentor for writing my first book. And I found her, I said, okay, I want to make a great book, so I want to go to the best. This lady teaches people how to write books at Harvard. And so I got in contact with her through her website. I contacted the Stevie Awards to see who had won an award for teaching people how to write books, and they said, this is the right contact, and I searched up and saw all her portfolio. Make a long story short, she basically rejected me from the offset. She was like, well, I don't really work with actresses. She said, I researched you and it says that you're an actress. She said, I need someone that's committed and dedicated. She said, I don't think that we are going to be able to work together. And I said, I'm committed, I'm dedicated. And she said, well, do you have someone that's going to ghostwrite the book for you? I said, no, I'm a writer. I said, I'm a journalist by trade, and so I write my own content. And she said, well, send me some writing. And I sent her, and she came back and she said, I think I would like to work with you. And so now it's interesting because I'm one of her references. People have called me over the years to be a reference for this lady that I sought out that's teaching people how to write books at Harvard. So I know that's a godsend.
Vaughn?
That's an amazing story.
God is good.
Any mentors? Or
Currently, I say you two.
I love that.
Manager Jazzy.
Keep it real.
Nice.
I love that. I love that.
Seriously. You're
Good answer.
I
love
know,
that.
Cry. Go ahead. I'll give you a award soon.
Oh, no. You should see D Nice in here. He's got tears in his eyes. He's about to start crying.
All right, we got about 3 minutes left.
Oh,
Linda?
okay. I would say the first person would be my father. And in a day when African American men were not entrepreneurs, they called them hustlers.
Right.
He owned the first black hotel in our city. He owned cabs on the cab company in the day when you cabs were owned by private
Sure.
individuals. I mean, he was an entrepreneur
Right.
from his heart, and I think that's where me and my brother and my sisters got that
that's great.
entrepreneurship from. And the second person would be Oprah from a distance,
Mm-hmm.
but the person that's made the biggest difference in the career that I'm on now would be Leslie Calvin Brown, better known as Les Brown, because he encouraged me every step of the way. He coached me into leaving my corporate job to do this full time, and I am just so happy that I met him, because when I was in real estate and finance, they would bring all these speakers, the top speakers in the world, and they were all white men.
Sure.
And finally one day Les Brown showed up, and he was the best one in the bunch.
Mamie Brown. baby.
Mamie Brown. Well, look, I approached him and I said, "Can I work with you?" And you know what he said to me? He looked me in my eye and said, "Why should I work with you?" And I was crushed. I thought that was a put down, but it wasn't. It was a challenge. He wanted, it was a challenge. He wanted to know that I was committed.
You women have all the luck. I was talking
That
about,
wasn't luck.
No. But I was talking about guys being rejected before.
Okay.
Because, throughout my life, I walked up to so many people and said, "Can I work with you?" And no. I was like, okay, fine, I'll figure it out. Makita, what about you?
I would say first God and my godmother. My godmother was everything. She was very adamant about me being a young lady, about me being articulate, about my education, about me pursuing my goals and my dreams. And then my grandmother, the love of my life, she was another one, very adamant. I was the only girl at that time. So I had all these brothers, and so they were like, "No, you have to be a lady, and you have to, you have to keep the name, and it's kind of rough because you're a girl." So it was a lot of wonderful things that my godmother and my grandmother were very influential in. And then, of course, you all know, as my career progressed, I got to meet Phyllis Hyman and Mesa Leak, and Tina and Shaka Khan. These women have all influenced me. I have a little bit of all of them, but y'all know my big eyes come from my Diana Ross. That's my boo thing.
Yes.
I love my Diana Ross. That's
Yes.
who I thought I was Diana. That was my that was my diva.
I think.
But so we have some wonderful women.
Yeah, I think a lot of women of a certain age certainly got in the mirror with their hairbrush and wanted to be Diana Ross. Absolutely.
Yes,
She influenced so many, without a doubt.
Yes.
I'll tell you what, this has been a tremendous time for me. We're not over yet, but I just want to commend you ladies on what you're doing, your walks in life, and you're setting the example for what our young sisters need to see. And, so that's always my challenge in life, because, when somebody wants to know what God or Jesus looks like, they should be able to look at you.
That's
Okay?
it.
And it's not even a question. That's why, to me, it's like, I don't need to know every scripture. I just need to know how to act. If I treat you with warmth, if I treat you with kindness and I mean it, then it's so much easier. We can get along. We can communicate. We can be a part of one family without really having any drama. So once again, I want to invite everybody to stop by tomorrow, and we're going to be at 447 North Prairie Avenue. And guess what? Makita's going to be there. All these ladies said they're coming. So come on, guys. Yeah, and it's going to be a great time. We're going to have so many doctors there. It's going to be really great. So if you know somebody in pain, or you know somebody that really needs to talk to a doctor, and we all do from time to time, and I do play a doctor every now and again. It's called Dr. James Jazzy Jordan. And by the way, we're listening to Gary Sims just as another compliment to his music, and he's also going to be there tomorrow playing for us. So we're going to have a great time, and you know what? It's just so wonderful being with you guys. I feel like, man, I just felt like I fell in a bird's nest with all these beautiful women surrounding me and giving me so much advice, and I love it. So you guys have any parting remarks?
Well, I'll say something someone told me a long time ago. Do more than you are paid for, and it won't be long before you'll be paid for more than you do.
All right.
Excellent. Walk in your purpose.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Walk in your purpose. Find yourself, be
Yes.
yourself, love yourself, and keep it going.
Yes. I say my motto is, everyone, please die empty. Live every dream, every vision, write every play, every book, every song, anything that you have in your heart. Do it so that you die empty.
Yes, you're exactly right. That's a great quote from Miles Monroe. He talks about that as well.
Yes, indeed.
But
Hard.
most importantly, we have to put God first,
Yes,
and everything else will follow.
That's right.
that's it.
If God is first, your steps will be in order.
That's right.
That's
All right?
it.
Absolutely.
That's the Gospel Jazz, and we're out.
I've ever done.